You guys might know Davie as the owner of Uri, which is an ecom brand doing close to $1 billion in sales. But today we'll be talking about his info business, which is quietly making him about $10 to $15 million in annual revenue with the highest profit margins than any of his other ecom stores. And even within his info business, he's got a chain of different offers, mainly to monetize different segments of his audience that are at different awareness levels and also financial levels. So there's a free Discord community as the lowest friction entry point. And then he's got a $79 course and a few other different offers. But what I love the most about Davie's info business, and it's something that I talk a lot about on my channel, is that Davie sells his high ticket offer as one of his primary front end offer, which is the exact offer that I'll be breaking down in this video. And that offer is called the Daily Mentor Academy, which is built for ecom founders doing mid to high six figures. So anything about 4 to 500k or above. And he's charging about $6,000 a year for that offer. There are 300 people in that community right now. And so this offer alone makes him about $2 million a year without counting any of his back-end revenue or the revenue that his other offers generate him. And the funnel he's using to sell this offer is absolutely genius, because it's already rare to see a big creator like him selling something high ticket as a front end offer. It's always something like a free event or a free live session or just some very low priced entry point to cash most of their audience. So let's get into what exactly Davie's doing as a leader of his niche to sell this offer. Now, the main traffic source for Davie is of course his personal brand, and he's also running paid ads specifically for this offer, which we'll be breaking down in just a minute. But if you look at both of those sources, they both are doing a very important thing that is also very much required to sell anything high ticket, which is building trust. And now Davie's credibility is pretty obvious, right? He's the youngest shark on Shark Tank Australia. He has built $1 billion company, and his lifestyle is just on YouTube to back all of those claims, right? So he doesn't have to work that hard on the credibility side anymore. But for anyone else trying to sell something at that price point, you really only need three things. You need proof, you need authority, you need character. That's it. Proof is because it's literally the foundation of trust. It's what makes people believe that your claims are actually real. The content formats that I personally use for my clients and to show their proof is documented case studies, before and after transformations, behind the scenes breakdowns, call recordings, building public content, mechanism breakdown videos, or anything that demonstrates the results that you're promising. Now, of course, the content formats that you end up using is all dependent on your offer, your target audience, and the price of your offer, and of course the market sophistication levels and everything. For more personalized advice around your specific offer, you can book a free audit session using the first link in the description, and that's where I can give you advice with all of your context and for your situation specifically. And now the second is authority. That's what builds the logical trust. It's what makes people think that, okay, this person clearly knows what they're talking about. And to be honest, a lot of Davie's content does this really well. Something like this, how he helped this business grow, or showing his decision making process by clipping his Shark Tank appearance, and of course it has that social proof angle as well, or posting actual coaching calls from the Daily Mentor community. It's all reinforcing his skills in the niche. Now the third one is the character, which is the one that I have never really seen anyone talking about, but it's literally the most important thing when you're selling something that requires close interaction like coaching or mentorship, or in Davie's case, a year-long commitment, and also paying $6,000 up front. Now, people at that point really want to know who they are working with before they commit, and also pay, of course. That's why sharing your values, talking about your mistakes, and showing your personality, and just staying consistent with your online presence matters so much. Now, unlike the other two, proof and authority, you don't really create separate content just to show character. It really just comes through in everything, and it just gets communicated through everything that my clients post. It can be in the proof content or authority content or just lifestyle content in general. And it's also something that we talked about in my previous video, where I talked about how to decommoditize your brand by showing off your personality, and you will be one of one in your niche because of your personality and character, and you as the coach will be the unique selling point of your offer. Like Hamosi, right? Hamosi himself is what makes all of his offers unique, because he has built that character. So if you want to watch that video, I'll leave the link in the top right corner. You can open that video in a new tab and watch it after this video. Now let's look at the ads he's running. He's running about 160 different ads for this specific offer, and this is the only offer in his entire info business that he's running paid traffic for. And if you look at one of his copies here, it starts with Dear Ecom Founders, and right off the bat, this one clearly is built for a bit top of the funnel traffic, because there isn't much disqualification happening. Ecom Founder is such a broad and normal label, right? And then it says you're working weekends, you got 12 tabs open, you're watching YouTube tutorials at 2x speed, are drowning in the spreadsheets of an ever-growing business, you know you're missing something, you've been told to just launch more ads, spam post it on TikTok, hire this performance-based agency, want too many things, and nothing is working. Okay, so what this section is doing is establishing what I call immediate situational relevance, and then creating this sort of repulsion for the the wrong people, because even a person who has literally made his ecom store yesterday would call himself an ecom founder, but this part would actually bore them because this all feels irrelevant. They don't want to keep on reading, they don't even want to complete this part, yet alone what's after this, which is exactly what this part is for. So that's something really smart. I really like to do it in the funnels that I build. And then it says nothing is working, you know you should be growing much faster and much smoother, or worse, you're just stuck. Sales have either plateaued or even worse, begun to dip. You're burnt out, running in circles and getting nowhere. With every month that passes, the gap between where you are and where you could be grows wider and wider. Okay, so he's amplifying on the cost of inaction. This is what we call the cost of inaction, and I cannot stress this enough. It's such an important and required touch point that you must have somewhere in your funnel, ideally before you pitch anything, because a high ticket solution needs to feel reasonable for them to actually buy and pay for it, and it has to feel like you're losing less by buying it than by not doing anything. Because of the loss aversion factor in human psyche, a human brain hates losing roughly twice as much as it loves winning. And so the moment they realize that not doing nothing is already costing them, and it's costing them more than the price of your product or solution, the product and paying for your price becomes the new ceiling, and not doing enough becomes this new loss, and a bigger loss. So you literally reverse this whole psychological tendency in your favor just by making the course of inaction very obvious. And then the copy finally starts to talk about the offer. It says, if this sounds like you, I want to extend you the offer to join Daily Mentor and work with 20 plus ecom experts who have driven over $2 billion in sales, 50 million units sold worldwide, and spent about $400 million on paid ads. So he's just stacking authority right there. And then it says you learn directly one-on-one from ecom's top expert in Facebook ads, ad creatives, Google ads, CRO, email and SMS, product manufacturing and sourcing, brand strategy. So he's just feature stacking there, again showcasing the authority and building that perception of his overall offer, because he's not the only one teaching right there. They get access to all of these different people as well. Then it says inside you'll get 200 plus video content library, daily mastermind sessions with me and coaches, exclusive access to our 300 plus brand community. Again, more feature stacking. It says we'll help you profitably scale ad accounts, create products people love, build a high performance team, and establish a brand that will stand the test of time. We cover literally every aspect of scaling a brand. Again, a different angle to show what they actually get, and kind of like benefit framing from that ecom owner's perspective, who's their target audience, of course. That it says this isn't about shortcuts, quick fixes, no gurus, overpriced agencies, or scammy courses. You'll be getting real actionable guidance from 20 plus experts. Again, this is that same anti-guru positioning that we broke down in the Hormozi funnel breakdown video, which was that by naming the common enemies of the niche, like gurus, overpriced agencies, or scammy courses, Davie positions himself as the honest alternative. It's the same strategy that Andrew Tate used and a few other big creators used in the info space to blame the educational system. Again, you don't need to attack anyone specifically, you just need to name what your audience hates the most. It can be gurus, it can be scammy courses, it can be overpriced agency, and then position your offer as the opposite. And it says, if a competitor joined first, you may not be accepted. So he's trying to build that scarcity, and it's such a good angle to it. It's of course better than those fake 5 slows left stuff, because competitive scarcity is actually believable at this offer type and community size. And then there's a simple 3-step CTA. You just gotta click the link, see if you qualify, and then book your welcome call. And if you click at the CTA, it takes you to this landing page where the first headline says fast track your growth inside the e-commerce most powerful community. And then the subheading says e-commerce coaching trusted by 300 plus 6, 7 and 8 figure founders. And then the body says daily mentor is where e-com founders go to get unstuck and unlock real explosive growth. Now from the very start of the line, you could feel that one-of-one positioning, like most powerful community. And the second thing the headline is doing is promising a fast track growth. And then if you focus on the micro language like unstuck or unlock, then real explosive growth, it paints this sort of a picture and relate with the ICP's language and how they think and feel about their current situation and about their explosive growth and future. And it positions the offer very perfectly for someone who think that they have been stuck. Then of course building social proof by saying e-commerce coaching trusted by 300 plus 6, 7 and 8 figure founders. And then there's a scrolling bar showing the recognizable DTC brands, of course, that are in the program, I believe. And then the second section, it says the fastest way to grow is by learning from the mentors who have done it before you. Again, a very common and believable and factual quote there. And then the subheading says Daily Mentor gives brands one-on-one e-commerce mentorship from $100 million plus founders and subject matter experts inside a community of other elite brands. Okay, I think they have given every single mentor a couple of brands to manage, and that's how they manage to provide that one-on-one 24/7 support. But that does really kill the most common objection for any group coaching or community offer, because you really need to be thinking about the default assumption. When someone see a community, they think they are buying into a group where they won't be heard much or get any meaningful advice. So that one-on-one mentorship aspect shuts that down immediately. It does really kill the most common objection and the default assumption of the buyer. And then mentioning 100 million plus founders is again building a positive perception of the community itself outside Davie's personal brand and his personal credentials. And then there's another scrolling bar to build mentor credibility. Says 26, 8 and 9 figure ecom founders and subject matter experts. I don't really think 9 figures was mentioned earlier at the top. Okay, so there is some inconsistency right there. I don't really know why they haven't fixed it yet. And then some more credentials and how they have collectively done over 2 billion in sales. And a 5-star review that says they have created Avengers of e-commerce. Again, they keep on reinforcing that they are the best, whether in language, in the word choice, or the reviews, and painting that same picture through different angles, which is the reason this review is quoted on top of the whole results section, because it's quick and short, and so even the people who won't go through all the screenshots would still read this. So it's pretty obvious how important and aggressively they are forcing on making you think that they are at the top of everyone. And then a bunch of case studies, screenshots and reviews to prove that it actually works. And then again, a list of everything that you'll actually get inside the community for, again, a bit more logical buyer to justify the price for them. That ends with a list of everything that you'll actually get support around, like ad creatives, Amazon, brand strategy, copywriting, etc. Then there's another 5-star review, and then all the actual screenshots of the course library you get access to. Again, it's all visually listed there for visual learners as well, and it shows all the resources that you actually get access to, and then a section that shows people actually getting results and actually getting support, joining weekly calls, getting into in-person mastermind, and the whole network that they get access to once they join the program. So again, breaking down every single objection, whether it's about yearly commitment or price being too high, they're breaking every single objection through the sales page. Whether it's about the yearly long commitment, it's being justified by how they get to join coaching calls every single week, and then one-on-one support as well, so the continuous benefits of the mentorship for a year straight, or the price objection, which is being justified again by showing them all the resources they get access to and the support they get in literally every aspect of their business. So this is the only product that they will have to buy for the future. And then there's another review. This is literally the 4th review, separately positioned from the whole client results section at the top. Again, and these are the actual marketing angles that they really want to use as a touch point, which is why they are mentioned separately. I personally love to have these in the landing pages that I built, because a lot of people don't really go through all of those case studies that you have in the case study section. And so a lot of times they miss the touch point that we leave in the client results section. So these separate ones and short ones are less likely to be missed. And then after, it's just we help founders unlock their brand. We identify what's keeping founders stuck and what they need to do to fix it. We give founders the strategies and skill set they need to accelerate growth and side cash flow and improve profitability. And then there's another review, literally 5th review from the co-founder of Ecom, I think. Like I said in the start, proof is literally the foundation of trust. So you gotta have that proof element throughout the whole page. It also makes you realize how crucial the sales page and your funnel is. Meaning understanding your ICP, their awareness of the sophistication level of the market and the USP of your offer, and the common assumptions and the common enemies of the market. And then how to finally use them to design a whole customer journey and your funnel according to that, and have different marketing angles and touch points to really sell something higher ticket. And it has to be super intentional to make it work. Like, you can't just rely on sales call to sell anything higher ticket. There has to be a funnel that builds a positive perception of your product in the buyer's mind. And then it has this FAQ section, and at the end just an apply now section. And also there was about 8 apply now buttons on the page, even though they had this top one all the time at the top, which is another important point. Some people, what they do is they make applying or finding the button to apply it really hard to find, and they think they are adding friction to the funnel that way. And they think if it's harder to apply it, only serious ones will apply, which is literally the worst thing you can do. Adding friction is great, but you really need to understand your ICP to add friction the right way, and add friction where it actually makes sense and improve the quality of the pipeline. And now that was it for today's video. I really hope you learned something from this. If you want my help to build a product to sell to your audience, or if you need any help to scale your existing offer that you sell to your audience, you can book a free audit session using the first link in the description. That's where I'll explain to you how I can help you. And with that being said, that was really it for today's video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.